I'm just leaving Eindhoven now, famously liberated as part of Market Garden, made famous by the Bridge Too Far film. I'm heading out towards Geldrop now. Don was billeted in Geldrop. That's where they would approach the local community, seeking people who would take in soldiers for the evening, house them, potentially feed them a bit as well, generally look after them. So yeah, off to Geldrop. Just on the way into Geldrop. That's a fair-sized church there.
Google tells me it was built in 1890 and has 47 bells.
I'm right in the middle of Geldrop. It's a lovely little town. And Don was billeted here with a family and he made good friends with them. Later on in the 70s, they would come to Wales. Don and Mary would come over here to spend some time in Geldrop. It's a beautiful little story. It just shows the relationships and how humans can just bond over, you know, in such dire circumstances. Holland at the time was, there was just massive food shortage. So the troops were able to help and feed the families. In exchange, the families would give them a roof over their heads and a good bed to sleep in. So yes, lovely story came out the back of this. It's really hot today, but obviously Don was here in October, and the notes for the regiment state that they were issued with these new suits. They had a zip all the way up, they were padded, and they were really warm, and they were an immediate success. It's really interesting how those suits became known as the Pixie suits and were with the British Army for decades afterwards.
I'm here in Deurne and I've come across from Eindhoven today. Be finishing off over here in Overloon, which is a very important area. Now, to give you some time scales, this Overloon and Venray action, this took place in mid-October. You can see here the woodland areas. There's a lot of flooded marsh areas here, heavy losses for Overloon and the Venray liberation. Then they were sent across to liberate Tilburg, which we saw earlier, and then they were brought back from the likes of Tilburg to this Deurne, Meijel, Liesel corridor. And the heavy fighting. You can see here, this is the Maas River. The German border is here. This is the Maas River, and they used this as a natural defense. They counter-attacked then and took lands, and they were driving, the German army were driving up this way to counter-attack the liberation of Eindhoven after Market Garden. So the 6th Guard Tanks Brigade was sent to drive them back south and back to the Maas River. Massive losses here, heavy fighting, as we'll see now.
So the Coldstream, the Grenadiers and the Scots were all sent here in order to repel that attack from the Germans, push them back to the canal and hopefully beyond. They had some serious fighting here. There's talk of Major Bridge lost his tank, was severely burnt along with his driver, and 3 of the crew didn't make it. So there's continued threat from anti-tank handheld weapons, the Panzerfaust. Now this is increasingly being used by the Germans, and it's well, like it says on the tin, handheld. It's effectively a rocket. Maybe you've heard of the bazooka. That's the style it is. It's a rocket that's launched, and it's an anti-tank weapon. You can hide in a ditch, pop up and fire it at close range. They are absolutely lethal. The other problems locally here are the self-propelled anti-tank guns. They are absolutely hammering the guys, and the infantry are pushing forward with the tanks once again, and they're taking an absolute beating. The British infantry, that is. Later, as they press on towards Liesel and Meijel, not sure if you can see that, but Liesel and Meijel are being shown. They are further south from Deurne. That's where they really did hammer home the advantage. They pressed on, pushed the Germans further back, and eventually, after serious fighting in Meijel, there was the Germans had withdrawn and fighting got easier. The Coldstream were allowed to retire back to Deurne, where they had mobile baths. Very welcome, I'm sure. Absolutely scorching hot for me. I'd love to jump in a cold bath right now, but mobile baths, the morale impact of having a bath out, you know, when you've just been in battle, you're covered in grease, grime, sweat. It must be just a morale boost to have a hot bath. They'd have been intense. All the kind of steam powered hot water would have been available for them. Yeah, it must have been a real relief to get back away from the battlefield and just to have a bit of recovery time.